Okay. Call to order, meeting of February 23rd. And next is routine, roll call with directors. Call to order, even though who wants to do the roll call?
There we go. Sorry. I had to go on.
Lag.
Yeah, moving. Nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Okay, I think remember everybody. Members, Bill Bailey, here, Frank,
Right here.
and Paul Brown,
Here.
and Ross,
Here.
Michael Drycorn,
Present.
and
Jim Coopman's here.
President.
Tim Koopman,
Present.
and Linda Cutney. Linda?
As far as contributions.
Mike Rose is here.
Okay, my clothes.
Oh. Yeah, that's what you. And Mike Rose. Everyone present and accounted for. So, we need to, approval of the February 25th meeting of 2020. Approval of the minute.
Do we adopt the agenda yet?
Good thing I have you for this. Okay, do you have any changes to the agenda?
I have one question. Under D minutes, says approval of the minutes of December 17th, 2020. And the minutes are dated December 22nd, 2020.
So that's for the regular meeting.
Yeah.
We can make the correction for the regular meeting.
You get that?
Not well, we're still on the agenda, but I just wanted to make it coincide with the.
Understood.
Are there any other changes to the agenda or questions? All those in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And, okay. New business. Election of directors. So we get back to our ladies here, the counters.
Okay, Melanie and Heidi. thank
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning.
I'm Melanie Berry, and this is my sister Heidi, and we were part of the ballot committee counting this year. And the other members were Linda Davis from Bokeelia, Kathy Davis from Bokeelia, Lisa Reynolds, St. James City, and Beverly Pennington from Malachey. So we received 660 ballots. We had 639 ballots. And from those ballots, Ross helped lead, received 409 ballots. Stephen Davis, 220. There were 8 abstained. From Bokeelia, Michael Drycorn, 573 ballots, 65 abstained. And at large, William Diley received 413 votes, Lindsay Lunaire, 213 votes, and 12 abstained.
Thank you very much for
I have a question on the ballots.
Mhm.
You said there were 660 total,
Mhm.
but only 639 were valid.
Yep, we had 21 invalid, 1 with no label, 9 with no rep cards, which were from businesses, and 11 invalid,
Valid signatures.
no signatures or,
Thank you.
mhm.
So welcome aboard again, guys. Appreciate it. Well, we make sure we send a note to the committee, to everybody, the county committee.
You're welcome. And thank you to Lindsay and Stephen.
Is that there?
It's great to meet you guys. Congratulations, everyone.
Okay, we got that. Now we have the president's report, which is kind of the same as it is every year for the last 3 or 4 years. We're going great guns on doing new projects out there. We did have one of our sections that went over to the Cape, so it cost us a few bucks a month and water sales. But that was a predetermined transfer a while back. And I appreciate Lori taking care of most everything, or if not everything. And I'd like to introduce Nakas.
Yes.
Nakas is our new position engineer. He's going to be very helpful. And this is Steve over here, and Aaron, I don't know if you know Aaron, Steve's our finance officer. So, that's it for me. There's the report.
Steve, can you pull up the audit file?
Yes.
It's in there. And essentially, we're required to complete an audit by the annual meeting, which has taken place yet again. And Paul, once it's this one right here, Steve. Yeah.
Okay.
And okay, so take it away.
Didn't know if
Paul.
we're finishing the thought there.
Yeah, no.
Okay, basically, I wanted to go over briefly the audited financials for 2020. This is our 4th year with the accounting firm. They've been doing a good job so far. Seem to be getting things to us on time. Steve's also been doing a good job for us. He's been here 1 or 2 years here for 30 years in April. Yep. And he and Lori have done a good job at breaking down expenses by functional department and revenues. You can see how the various parts of the business are doing. It's something that we weren't doing a good job on before she got here. If we go down a couple of pages on the audit here, go down into the revenue section first. Balance sheet. Yeah, go down here. And statement of revenue and expenses there. Okay. Yep. Okay, if you look at the 2020 and the 2019 results, basically our operating revenue decreased by about $2,000. That's mainly due to the fact that we lost some business at Cape Coral. Some of our prior customers were picked up by Cape Coral, so we're not billing them anymore. That was offset quite a bit by a 2% rate increase we did during 2020. Our revenue went down about $2,000. Our operating expenses went down about $75,000. So our operating income ended up going up about $74,000. And after adjusting for the other revenues and expenses, negative ones, we ended up basically about $44,000 higher on the revenue side during 20 than we were during 19. So we're in pretty good shape from that standpoint. If we go back up to the balance sheet,
Page 3, these folks wanna.
page 2 and 3, yeah. Or 3 and 4, I guess. Okay, if you go up one more page for me. Okay, if you look at the comparison of the balance sheet from 2019 to 2020, the biggest difference you're going to see is that the cash and cash equivalents, which at the end of 19 were 5,300,000, have gone down to 3.7 million. But if you look further down on the page here, the reason for that big decrease is that we've moved some of those funds into CDs so we can get better interest on them. So our reserve fund balance at the end of 20 is still about $5.3 million, and we're in real good shape. We like keeping reserve balance of between $2 and $2.5 million on hand to deal with potential emergencies, hurricanes or some other thing that we can't foresee, where we're going to need funds to rebuild or take care of equipment failures or something like that. So basically at the end of 20, we're at about 5.2 million. Once we do the infrastructure projects that we're planning on for 2021, and we take care of the stuff that was left over for 2020, we should be looking at a reserve balance of about 4.4 million at the end of 2021, which again is still above what we want to keep on reserve. What we're basically doing is keeping our minimum reserve balance and then using additional funds that are available to basically reinvest in the system. And the largest part of that reinvestment is basically redoing neighborhoods where we need to repipe the neighborhoods and put in fire hydrants. And during 2021, the plan is to take care of the Fruit Street, which is about a $900,000 project. And we basically have a list of neighborhoods that need reinvestment, and we kind of rank those based on the number of people in each neighborhood and how old the system is in the neighborhood. And we're basically trying to work through those neighborhoods as we've got the funds to do it. A year or two ago, when we looked at it, we had about $20 million in those projects that we were looking at to do over the long term. So we're continuing to hold to that plan, and as far as the financial picture, I think it's pretty good. We're in a good position, and I think Lori and Steve are doing a good job on keeping track of where we are and where we're going. And that's about it for me, unless somebody's got some questions.
I got a question.
Okay.
Our, Lori knows this was gonna be, our loan from that company,
Go bank.
Cobank, how many years we got on that? How is,
2025 is the last year, and it's only like one payment. So once, and that'll play in, and I'll explain more with the rate study and such, but once we hit 2025, then you'll have available some 300,000 or more to reinvest. And that's something to look forward to in 2025.
So John, up on the board, there's actually the breakdown what we have remained left in principal over the years.
which one there?
So in the middle of the
Maturity of long-term
page
debt.
here,
Yeah, the maturity is the payments that we're making in each of the years.
so right in here, it shows how there's 2025, and this is each year payment remaining, so it's close.
Yeah, that'd be good to get rid of that.
So if I'm paying 6% of current interest rate.
Now, when you have prepayment, you have to pay all the interest you pay off. again.
Yeah, there's no benefit to paying it off early. We still get that with the interest.
So essentially, you would need a motion to
Except
accept
for service.
the audit and do all.
The two separate motions, need a motion to accept the audit as,
I'll move for that.
thanks, Frank.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And, the treasury report. Thank you, Paul, and we need a motion to accept the treasury report as presented.
We need a motion for
No, I'm sorry, I think you're all set because you needed to make a motion to adopt the audit model treasurer and you did that.
Okay, so. let's see.
But I'm glad you like it. I moved. Oh,
Okay. Now, general manager's report. Laura, you're on.
Right, so I'll let Steve pull up the PowerPoint. So essentially, this is an opportunity for us to review last year and to look forward to the year we're in right now. Some of the large projects in 2020, and I have slides to go with them, starts with instrumentation for the RO plant, rewiring our deep injection well, monitoring well, and clear well. The Pine Island Road project was significant. Some container removal here at Center, one of which was donated. Repainting our 3 million gallon storage tank here at Center. In our first year of radio reads, they installed 1,117. And then we did some renovations here at Center in order to accommodate our new engineer and distribution. So here, just because I think visuals are helpful and not everybody sees the components of the facilities. This is at our RO plant, and these are the instrumentation panel that's being replaced for each of the trains. And then on our side, Robert, our instrumentation technician, is doing significant rewiring at the same time. This is busy because it, again, was a complicated project. I try to give a sense of, so here's the clear well, here's the monitoring well, or the deep injection well, here's the deep injection well. And all of our systems, you're depending on, in most cases, wiring. And so this is what our wiring, the condition that it ended up at. This was during the project, and then this is after. Significant undertaking with an outside company to do that for us. This is the first phase of Pine Island Road. It, again, just kind of gives you a visual of where we started and where we ended up, and the fact that some of it was the PVC, and then here was the HDPE directional drill. The scope of the project was about 4,200 linear feet. I like this just because that just gives you a sense of the pipe that's now in the ground and was delivered on site. This is along Pine Island Road where they're doing the directional drill, quite the process. This is a small directional drill rig set up right in front of the plant. That's showing you part of the drill bit that's going through and pulling pipe back. This is a visual of some days things just don't go quite how you might like. So this is right in front of the facility. We had to do some quick valve turning in order. The piping was being removed, but it just was struck before we were ready to take it out. And then this is representing, looking west on Pine Island Road towards the 7-Eleven. Cabana Construction was our contractor. I really have nothing but good things to say about them. This was a complicated connection at the Little Pine Island Bridge, taking the new pipe, then putting in a connection into the old pipe. This is just a quick visual of activity, getting rid of these storage containers here. One we were able to donate. The other one, actually, which I believe is this one, the plant ended up having it delivered to the RO plant, and they repainted it and redid the floor and made it be some additional storage for them, which was great repurposing. This is the 3 million gallon storage tank, which is right here at center, and the repainting of that. Again, a fairly significant undertaking given the people that have to both go on top and in the lift device in order to clean it and then paint it. But you have to just keep taking care of the infrastructure. And then towards the end of the year, if you hadn't been in the back part of the tank here, this is what it looked like. And then again, another part of what it looked like. We then had Joe Smith's construction come in, put up walls in order to redo the inside for both. So now distribution has a fairly large side, and that space back in there, of which I'll have a lit up picture, is where MCAS now has an office.
So you did the new floor and distribution and because office, right?
Not new floor in MCAS's office, but we stopped there.
Yeah.
Because in here, we were taking down a wall, putting up a new ceiling, which is here. We had a new AC unit put in, so really quite a project there, jammed into the end of 2020. To recap, some water sales. I thought that this was interesting as much as anything to me, because in this period here, I don't believe that this usage was because we really had more people. It's that people were at home. And then as the year goes on, you can see where we started to lose right in here, Unit 58. For next year, of course, we adopted the budget at the December meeting, but this gives a snapshot for members to see the history of expenses and revenues from 2017 up through 2020, and now our adopted 2021 budget. Because as Paul said, we're healthy. We did not ask for a rate increase. And here I'm just showing so that people can see what we put in the budget for the reserve fund. This is actually how the reserve cash ended. This represents the CDs in the budget. This is actually where it is with investment. Last year, we thought that the fruit streets were going to move forward some. The board had an adopted budget of 1.5 million for the fruit streets at the December meeting, where the board approved phase 1 of the fruit streets. Cabana Construction had a bid price of $900,769. And down here, this just represents the projects. No year is a perfect begin and end date. So the various projects that transcend one year to the next is summarized there. And down here, you're showing again what Paul said, and I'm showing visually around $4.4 million expected. Again, that's budget. It's fluid. I'm certain it'll change through the year. And then our goals for 2021 are enhancing our reliability and efficiency through a lot of things, everything from construction of phase 1 for the fruit streets, replacing, this will be year 2 of the radio read with Mikessa's help, improving our planning and prioritization and oversight of capital projects. And then at the same time, we're due for another comprehensive rate study, which I think will work out very well in that. So we essentially had approval through 2021 to increase the rate by 2% each year. We opted, of course, not to ask for a rate increase in 2021 because we really didn't need it, even with all the capital projects. But the rate study, which we'll execute with PMRG merged with Raftellus, we'll get into that. That was my next plan after this annual meeting.
One question, meters,
Yes,
there's about 7,000 meters total, or what?
yes. So the plan is to do it over 5 years. So we're in year 2. This is an overview, and many of you have seen this before, of the fruit streets. And so this is the phase 1 that we're doing. And over to the side, I just put in the process that we have to go through in order to do a project. So we don't get to just say we want to go do the fruit streets and there's no oversight or regulation. So we are in review. It's called a limited development order. And it goes through all these processes, which includes, because I think it was startling even to me when we first laid out this project, that you're going from a neighborhood of no fire protection, essentially with hydrants, to one with approximately 25 fire hydrants. We don't get to decide how many there are, as much as sometimes I wish we could. It's through the fire review and code that tells you what the distance is depending on the area. So in our Pine Island Road project, we ended up having to put in a couple of more hydrants because they called it an industrial area. And that's like 400 feet. Here it's probably ranges from 500-600 feet space between hydrants. This is again just the phase 1 of the fruit street, so you get a little bit of a geographic visual, I guess you could say. And I put in this picture here because that's the 2-inch water main right now. And some of this rock is what they call cap rock. And the cap rock, as it grows, is pushing the main, and that's not a good thing.
What size? What size will you be placing that 2-inch with?
That will be 8. And again, the 8 isn't something that we get to choose. It's what is required based on the limited development review and the various codes that say you'll have a certain size pipe to support fire hydrants. And so now, once upon a time, you could support a fire hydrant with a 6-inch. Now you can't. I put in this, so this, I mean, you have Mikes here. That's his space, of which has tables for him to put out plans. And I've bulleted the different projects that Mikes will be working on. And I'll just jump to some of the slides on that. So the GIS, of which we have varying, I guess you could say, maybe sophistication isn't the right word, but various implementation maybe. This particular picture that I put in shows current because it has been done. So I just clicked on a piece of the pipe there and it shows you that it was installed in October of 2020, that it's C900, it's a 10-inch pipe. We got all that information through our engineering contract and Cabana Construction. So going forward, new infrastructure has been inputted. So say Charlotte Shores, Matlacha Isles, you can see that in GIS, but beyond that, some of those neighborhoods, you've got older inputs based off another generation of CAD. So Mikes has actually jumped far forward already on this, and instead of hosting or depending on an outside engineer for us to do GIS going forward, we now have the software in-house. This was another project that I thought that I wanted to do, but hesitated to farm this out to an outside engineer. But Mikes has already bought the software in order for us to have a hydraulic model, and that'll help us in a lot of ways going forward, whether it's trying to simulate something up at our Scala pump station to what kind of flow might we expect to get from our interconnect with Cape Coral to fire flows and development. It's a tool that now we'll have, and we didn't have. This is a snapshot, and again, just in the past, our interaction with activity was, so this is the shared use path down in St. James City for those of us who happen to live down there. I see it every day, and because we are a guest, you could say, of the right of way, DOT has the first right of passage. And so in some cases, it's been disruptive to us. This just happened to be a casualty of them pulling out a tree and roots pulling out a 2-inch line, and here shows Ricky a connection and valve that was damaged and leaking as a result of the work. So it's quite disruptive, but now we have Mikes to be in the field to interact with both our crew and the contractor, which is certainly helpful.
Lori,
Yes.
you might point out that when they did that, I was in the shower with a head full of shampoo.
Right. Thank you, Ross. I was sorry for that, but I'm grateful that Mary was creative with the bottled water. Yes. I've put in this slide because we've talked a lot about water loss. It's something that I want us to continue to work on, and there's a lot of components of it. So as I've started to explain, probably back in October with the board, that I wanted to change how we present our information in the board packet, and I've done that, and that'll be a part of the next meeting. But this gives you a visual in one place of what's the national average for water loss here. Our regulatory target of 10% from South Florida Water Management District is here. And we are here. And there's so many pieces to the water loss pie. It's everything from leaks, hydrant flushing, accuracy of meters in your system, accuracy of meters at your plant. I'm not sure if I'm missing any of the components, but it's not like one place you can look. You've got to be looking everywhere in order to try to bring that down. So water lost is water not sold. So obviously we want to continue to tighten that down. I put in this slide to try to keep up with current information in the country, being Florida for one, and to answer hopefully some questions that our members might have related to our security. Essentially, we have, it's sort of like how much do you say without saying too much. The plant controls, which is the supervisory control and data acquisition, is not connected directly to the internet. It's managed some of the information through a virtual private network. Doesn't mean that any system is 100%, which is why we continue to evaluate. But I will say when the Oldsmar situation came up, because we're a utility member in American Water Works, we got information through the Florida section of American Water Works, which had recommendations following the cyber attack, and then gave us access to a report that was put out by the FBI, Homeland Security, and the sheriff's office in Oldsmar. And I can say that many of the recommendations for others we already have as a part of our cyber controls. In terms of physical security, I put in this, it represents and our physical security is a lot, because you figure we have our treatment plant, we have our center station here, we have our scallop substation, but at center, and we'll be doing more of this as someone comes to the gate, the operator inside can see who's at the gate. The gate's not opened unless they have authorized someone to come in. And then in terms of the Oldsmar example, this was just to give you a visual. This is our chemical room for our caustic. That's the chemical that was referenced in Oldsmar, that we're not doing any chemical dosing unsupervised. It's fed for pH adjustment. It's alarmed for notification to the to the operator at various set points. So low, high, critical high. Critical high will actually reduce the pump speed so that you cannot overdose. Then on a maybe a lighter note, I didn't want to not recognize two of our distribution people that hit some milestones this year. This is Chris Leverett. Unfortunately, this example was when the fire hydrant was struck just off a Stringfellow and really caused quite a problem. And Chris, although he is a field supervisor, I don't know that you'll ever show up on a job where he's either not in the hole, or if he's not in the hole, he's operating the backhoe. Definitely our greatest longevity in our system now, knowledge comes from Chris. And Richard, same kind of thing in terms of people just don't see the kinds of things that these guys have to do every day. And Richard here is putting on a slammer. Richard's just reached 5 years with the association. Always man in the hole, not afraid to get wet. I inserted this slide again just in thinking of emergency preparedness and a little bit about what's going on in Texas and what people might wonder in terms of our own preparedness. Us being certainly had a lot of experience being prepared for emergencies. And so for, again, our customers, members that don't know, this is our 600 kilowatt generator at the plant. That was new and upsized in 2017. This is a new generator here at Center, 200 kilowatts. That allows us to both pump from this Center substation and keep the office running. And then this ball door generator is a mobile unit. It used to be here. It's now, it still could be mobile, but right now it's ready to serve the deep injection well. And the oldest generator, which I didn't have a picture, is at the Scallop substation. So essentially, I mean, these are exercised, run. We have fuel storage and I have no reason to think that even in a substantial hurricane that we couldn't still produce and distribute water. Let's see now.
How long do you think they could run without electricity?
Sure. So good question. I asked that of my chief at the RO plant. He thought we have 2,000 gallons at the plant, that a week shouldn't be a problem for us. And even with Irma, which wasn't obviously a bad storm, we are able to bump up in terms of the list of getting additional fuel distributed. So we'll call it a comfortable week.
One thing we might point out for some of the members who have not been part of the everyday information cycle is that Lori mentioned Irma. Rather than evacuating Pine Island like many people were able to do for Irma, Lori spent how many days at the RO plant on site? Rode out the hurricane, which is above and beyond as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Thanks, Ross. It's kind of like a firefighting job, right? You don't get to run away. You need to stay. So that's what we did. And fortunately, we were ready, and it was not a significant impact.
Now, since then, you have increased the, well, they're now hurricane doors a little bit more, and
Absolutely.
you increase, it's all hurricane proof, and it's a big cement building, so.
Right. Yeah. After spending Irma at the plant and watching the doors kind of rattle and this and that and the other, that was one of the first things that the chief, we authorized for him to do, is to upgrade all doors and make that be as hurricane proof as we could possibly hope for. Let's see, Steve, this doesn't seem to want to let me advance right now.
And your dog is on that next slide.
Stop the shrimp for a second.
Let's see, I've got a couple more. It just, my clicker wasn't letting me advance at that moment.
No, I can always advance forward for you.
Okay, go ahead, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because we're almost done. This is courtesy of Jerome, one of our plant operators has a drone, and so he took a couple of current pictures at the treatment plant. And again, there's been a lot this year, and COVID's still in our mind, of course, but regardless of COVID, hurricanes, whatever, we still have to produce water. And then this again was courtesy of Jerome, showing this is actually Jerome right here flying the drone. And one day we have this nice safety glass in the office that we put in hopes of, well, of course, one day soon being able to reopen the door, because Sydney is ready to have customers.
Yeah, comes right through the door.
And I'm happy to take any questions on all of that, because it is a lot.
On the hydrants put in the fruit streets, do we have any idea as to the impact of those hydrants would have on insurance rates for the people in that area?
I don't, off the top of my head, all I know is that it's supposed to make their insurance rate go down.
Should be a positive benefit.
Yes, absolutely,
You have
yes.
to be within 5 miles and have hydrants, so there will be
Now we'll have
different
both.
their insurance rates.
Right. And it's a lot of properties.
The other thing is, I live almost adjacent to the plant. A lot of people in my neighborhood walk Stringfellow. I haven't seen it, and I meant to stop there this morning, but I forgot. They told me that the new paved entrance road into the plant has cracks and stuff in it. Have you been aware of that?
We actually had the entrance to the treatment plant sealed,
Right.
and the grounds, the whole area of the plant. So I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, from the gate
Yes,
out to Stringfellow,
yes.
some people told me that that new section there has shown cracks and stuff in it. I don't know, I haven't been there, but
I think it's really just accented the sealer that we put on,
Uh-huh.
accented the cracks.
Oh.
It's really just meant to help increase the longevity
Yeah.
as opposed to repaving the whole thing.
Is it asphalt or concrete?
It's asphalt in the entrance to the treatment plant, yeah.
Hmm.
And they did a ceiling, which probably should have been done, years ago, but there's only so much you can do every year.
Could I ask you a question about your accounting of accounts? If you can believe a thing like that. On page 11, it looks like on the bottom right, a math error perhaps. I couldn't understand how you
So,
did that.
Linda, absolutely,
Can you look at that and fix
can
it?
we I'll go over that more in the regular meeting.
Oh, okay. All right. Not a big thing.
This is just an unusual meeting in that we have the annual meeting first and then the regular meeting.
Well, I'm sorry I came.
Nope.
Hard.
Not a problem. So if there aren't any more questions on the annual meeting, we will bring closure to that and move on to the reorganization meeting.
So is everyone satisfied? If no more questions? Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. So, where is the,
So now you'll.
let's see. Oh, that's right. So is everything all set? Don't need a break?
People are ready to keep going.
I'm gonna
And
stop
we'll-
live streaming you want me to stop live streaming or no?
No, go ahead and just leave it for now. I think maybe there's some folks that might be interested, but.
Okay, so we need the call to order and roll call of the board of directors. So we should have Mike Drycorn, Mike Rose, Linda Cutney.
Here.
Goodman, Ross,
Here.
and Paul Brown, Frank, Bill Diley, and myself. Okay, thank you very much. That's it. And the first thing we want to do is adopt the agenda. Does anyone have any changes or concerns or they would like to make on the agenda? Is that yours? Do you have something on the agenda? or not?
It was just a correction,
Just the
actually.
date, correction.
Okay, next one is election of officers. So as usual, we redo our officers every year. So do we have motions for president?
I'd like to nominate John Kamick for president.
Second.
Thank you very
I'll
much.
second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And vice president, and that is Ross. Do we have a motion for,
Yes, I'll move to nominate Ross for vice president.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And treasurer, we have potential treasurer, might, maybe someone's take a break. So I will, what do you call it?
Paul wants to take a break, I think.
Yeah.
Paul's taking a break, and Mike Rose, I'd like to put his name in for treasurer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And secretary. Secretary has been Frank. Do we have a motion for any other secretaries or Frank?
I move that we accept Frank by acclamation.
Or cleaning it? Okay, all those in favor, need a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much. And so it's John is president, Ross is vice president, Mike Rose is treasurer, and Frank is secretary. Thank you very much. And now we need the approval of the minutes of the December 12th, and that's the one we just deal with them.
So moved.
December
Second.
22nd.
Can we get a second?
I'll take a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And now we're back to a treasury report.
I wasn't sure I was doing this one.
Oh, it's
Just gotta
kind of
go
last
through-
minute for you to,
Went through the audit and everything, so it's kind of, I'm a little off balance today.
It's
Go ahead,
okay. I think really, and maybe I can just say something first, is Paul's really covered. So in this part of the meeting, Steve would normally be presenting December and January. However, December, I think, is a little redundant. We really don't need to speak to that. And then January, because I've got Steve doing some other things, maybe I can just indicate that we're in our first month of the new year. We should be at 8.3% expended. I'm sorry, I'm on page 6, if that's helpful for the 2021 budget. And so you will see, right, I'm sorry, we don't have our next numbers and we'll have it for the next time. But really, in 1 month, our revenues are still okay, and that sources the first line, 8.8%. Our uses, including operations and maintenance, is 8.2. I don't need to probably belabor the rest of it, other than activity is then characterized by capital projects which have carried over, and current projects in the remainder of the page. And I think with that, that's probably enough of a report of the finances in the first month of the new year.
so, do you have any questions concerning the treasury report? Okay, you have the motion to accept the treasury report.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
And Attorney Inspector, is Attorney here?
Sarah.
Yes, Sarah.
Uh-huh.
Do you have anything for your, a report for you, Sarah?
Other than technology is failing me today and I cannot get my computer to come on, I mean, my video to come on, no, I don't have anything to report.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And Sarah has been quite helpful to us for the last year, and we expect it to be in the future. And Director's report, which is Lori.
So I'll bring your attention to pages 9 and 10. And what you see here now is what I've promised I would change in a couple of ways, and that is page 9 shows December, and we are now mirroring how we present our information in the director's report to how we report to South Florida Water Management District. So you're simply seeing now produced versus sold, how many gallons were lost and what is the percent loss. It doesn't mean that we aren't still tracking the accounted for water loss through main breaks, flushing, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, the percent is what you see, 25% in December. And in January, on page 10, we're at 18.6%.
Lori, when you submit these reports to the water management district, do they ever come back with questions, or is it just a black hole?
Yeah, it's somewhat of a black hole. Essentially, you're reporting this information at the end of the year, and each year I write a brief summary on what we're doing in order to improve our water loss. At the end of the day, if Greater Pine Island were to say want to expand, they could take other measures to make it more difficult for us, expecting us to reduce our water loss, which of course we want to anyway. So it's somewhat of a non-interactive process.
So they don't come forth with any suggestions or help or funding or anything?
No. Let's see, the next summaries are the operations reports, 11 and 12. There was a couple of things, and Linda, I'll let you point out your question too, but I will note that water sold on page 11, for instance, we were down 3.5 million gallons in December, and down 1.5 million gallons in January, which is page 12. Again, some of this is expected because of the loss of customers in Cape Coral. And then in the section under consumption, million gallons, Linda, you were curious how many accounts went to the different areas, Matlacha, Bokeelia, St. James City. So Aaron added a number of accounts next to each grouping. So on page 11 with Matlacha, it's saying Matlacha has 1,208 accounts, Bokeelia 2,463, etc.
Well, that is very interesting. I was doing some quick math, and it seems like Matlacha and Bokeelia, the people use more water than they do in St. James by almost half. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know what to make out of that, but maybe the other areas are either they have more money or they're more agricultural. But anyway, I know
Linda, can you speak up just a shade?
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
That's got construction downstairs. No, I was just looking at how much water was used in the different areas, and it seems like for whatever reason, Matlacha and Bokeelia take it over St. James City. If you just do the math. And to me, it's very interesting where it looks like the number of accounts are also going up in St. James as opposed to the other two areas. From what I could see, maybe there are more new houses because they're not going away. I mean, they're not canceling those areas. Anyway, I was just looking at the bottom of page 11. If you look at the year-to-date in 2019, there has to be, somebody has hurt the math there, I think.
Linda?
Yeah, can't
I
hear.
think you might be trying to read more information into the data that's really there. That was going to be a question that I was going to ask. Does anybody have any numbers on what impact COVID has had on the seasonal population for the island?
Well, that's interesting too. No, I wasn't thinking of it in those terms, but I was just looking at the If you
The
had,
number,
the numbers on the bottom right of the page 11.
the numbers of accounts are fixed, but that doesn't have anything to do with the number of people that are in the accounts.
No, no, and if you looked at the number of new accounts and the number of people that canceled, you kind of get an idea of where maybe the new accounts are opened and you know, where people are moving in or whatever. But my question originally, and I apologize for the noise, it's driving me a little nuts, is that if you had 56 new accounts and 22 were canceled, that would be 34, not 7,197. I did in 2019.
Really,
I think that's total number, it's
what
the
you're,
71.
what you're looking at is there's a year to, I don't even really love the bottom part of that.
I
Aaron
didn't
and I
either,
talked about just getting rid of it. It's kind of confusing. I don't think there's a math error there.
Right, because cancel
So what does
account,
that mean then?
a lot of that 221 was
Nothing?
the,
Unit 58.
of course, unit 58. But anytime there's a canceled account, and let's say a year later, somebody moves in and they reinstall it,
No, I can't hear you.
that's not really a new account, but it's subtracting from the canceled accounts. So those numbers are always gonna look off.
Which I think just probably begs the relevance of kind of that information.
Well,
Like total loss.
Maybe
Total
they're
loss.
not worth the trouble. I don't know.
I think it probably isn't. I think it's kind of a vestige that has been a part of this report and it's morphed over time, but Aaron and I can talk about potentially changing that bottom part of the report.
I was just trying to understand it.
Well, new accounts don't just reflect new construction, they reflect property turnover as well somewhat.
Right, but if that was the case, wouldn't you have canceled accounts? Wouldn't one person cancel as the new person came in?
Well, that's what is there, canceled accounts.
And in December, there were 0, but 7 new ones. You know what?
Yeah, that used to show how many new accounts and canceled accounts, and last year we decided, let's take that away and just do what the bottom line is, if there's more canceled accounts than not, but we were even with the transfer of ownership.
And the same thing in January, 13 new accounts and none canceled. I don't know, I was just trying to explain it to myself. So
Does anybody
The new accounts
have
are
any information?
brand new installations.
What's that?
Does anybody-
Excuse me,
Go ahead,
excuse me.
Aaron, if you want.
Aaron's gonna explain something here.
Oh, I was just gonna say, new accounts on this line are brand new installs. They're not a reinstall. That would take away a canceled account. A reinstall would. But so all of those new accounts, there's 7 for December, year-to-date, 57 for 2020, year-to-date for 2019. Those are brand new building, brand new installations of a meter.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Does anybody have any
Buy the
information?
house and they put the water in under their name, that goes under, that offsets the cancel
Correct.
that happened, yeah, okay.
John,
Yes, Ross?
does anybody have any information as to what impact COVID has had on the island population this season?
I'm starting to see this, looking more like the way it always was this last month with traffic and things, and my rentals have picked up more, just as much as they did before. So seems like we have quite a bit of, starting to come back. But that's not a necessarily real accurate assessment.
Right. I don't think, Ross, that certainly we can't answer how many people are here versus not. All we really can track is how many gallons are sold.
And how many times is a backup traffic on COVID?
Well, we're down a little bit in volume for the 2 months that we have of this season, and I think if people are there, they're not going to use less water unless it involves irrigating and pools and those kinds of things. But having fewer people certainly would be a good explanation for using less water.
Right, there's both having fewer people in our active accounts and the fact that we lost close to 200 accounts in Cape Coral at the same time.
And their average would be $30, $40 accounts. Ones you lost, they're all houses, right?
Yes, they're all houses.
$30, $40 bill. Okay.
That's it for that.
There you go again. That's on our agenda.
So there's really only one activity in the general manager's report of this part of the meeting that I would speak to, and that is the closeout of the project at the RO plant with Higgins. As I briefly summarized on page 13, we sent a communication to Higgins asking for a credit of $47,000. This was a project that went back and forth on any number of things, and at the end of the day, even with me working to articulate what it was that we were asking for, it just continued to be, and I could see it would only end up sucking up A, more of my time, B, more of our finances, more so than what we were trying to achieve back from Higgins. So we had a, call it a mediation phone call, whereas Higgins was able to provide us $8,000 credit. We have moved on, closed it out, and that project is done.
So the issue with Higgins was something that we had paid for that they hadn't completed?
They completed everything. It was the quality of their work. And they came as a recommended contractor. We certainly won't ask for a bid from Higgins again.
They were recommended by
Weston
and Sampson.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, they were part of
One of their subs.
our solicitation for bids.
You were asking for a $47,000 credit and settled for an 8.
Correct.
Okay, any more questions? I guess the general manager's report.
That's
That's
it.
all
I
right.
have something on the fruit streets, but I've already spoken about that.
You don't want to do that now. Okay, any new business?
No, this
New
is
business?
one that has none.
And we have our next meeting in April 27th. Do you have any comments from the board at all? I'd like to again welcome Matthias. You guys get to meet him, and thank you, the runners. And thank you for, we want to send a note to the counters. Appreciate it. And I think that will be it. And glad to have Ross back and Bill and Michael. Appreciate it. Makes it easy for us. They're good guys. So, and thank you, Pine Island Eagle, Paulette. There's somebody else.
Pleasure to be here. I'm still here. I'm always on mute. Thank you, John.
And thank you, Paul Brown, for years of service as a treasurer. And,
You're welcome.
you know, Glad you're gonna be still on the board.
Oh, yes. So are we all set?
Motion to adjourn, I think.
Motion to be adjourned.
So move.
Second. Okay, all in favor?